Today, we will be taking a look at the door switch on this GE electric dryer. Be sure to visit ApplianceVideo.com, where you will find thousands of repair videos on the latest technology. And for a limited time, you can save big on an annual membership and take advantage of all of our premium benefits. ApplianceVideo.com. Do it right the first time. To begin your repair, you must first remove the console. Stop. Always be sure to disconnect the power to the appliance. It is also recommended to test the outlet for the proper voltage. You will need the following tools to complete this repair. To begin, you must first remove the top of the console, but if you look around, you'll see there is no screws to remove the top of the console. So it can be rather tricky. What you need to do is pull out on your knob and set it aside. There is one long Phillips screw to the left of the console centerpiece here. Just take this out. Next, you need to be very careful. I apologize if this moves. What needs to happen is we need to pull up on the console on both sides. It's held on by these kind of compression and slotted spots. So you can start on one side. This side always lifts up a little bit easier. This side over here is a little bit more difficult to get up. There we go. Lift up. We will bend it down, and the next thing we'll want to do is take off all of the wiring for your control board. I'll come back to this one. We'll sit it down for a second. This one's being a little difficult to pull off, so I'm going to go to the bottom. Use the board with just a little bit of leverage to start to pop up the terminals, but do so gently so that you do not damage anything. There we go. Got it taken off there. And set your console to the side. Next, to remove the top, you will have to remove these 3 screws here. All of them can be taken off with the Phillips bit. Set these aside. Lift up on the top, slide out, and remove and set aside. The next thing we will need to do is remove this front console bracket. Now, in order to do that, obviously we will have to push the wiring through. There's a strain reliever here and a strain reliever down here. Just pinch them with your needle nose pliers and start to push it through. One through, 2 through. Let's go ahead and pull out our wiring. Next, there is a couple of screws that will have to be removed. Here, here, here. This one, and these 3. Pay attention to what goes where, such as these metal pieces here and your console anchors. There's also one in the center that will need to be removed too. Take that out. Slide out on the metal bracket and set it aside. Next, we will have to remove the front panel here. Now there's a couple things that are holding it on, such as screws on the top some Molexes, some screws in the middle, and screws on the bottom. What I have found easiest is to start with the bottom and move up. So I'm going to open the dryer door. I'm going to lift up the dryer and slide something underneath it just so I can get the screws. There is 2 white Phillips screws under here that will have to be removed. Take one out. Take the second one out. I'll go ahead and remove this. Next, we'll open the door. You have 2 Phillips screws here and here that you will want to remove. After we take these 2 out, let's go ahead and close it up. We have one here and here that will need to be removed, but first, let's go ahead and unclip the 2 Molexes. We will remove this one. Followed by over here. When removing it, make sure you hold up on it so it doesn't fall. So to the side, let's go ahead and start to pull off. Next, reach down. There's a water line connection right here. You'll have to put pressure up against it and separate. So I use my thumbs, separate it, and set your panel aside. Now that we have the front panel removed, we have a mover's blanket attached to it, and we have set it aside. At this point, we have clear access to your door switch. Now, your door switch harness is this one right here. This one has the black, the green, and the white. If you wanted to do any testing, you can do it from here if you decide that you want to do that. In order to do your testing here, you go between the white and the black, open and close the door, see if you have continuity whenever the door is closed, see if you do not have continuity whenever the door is open. Now, getting to the door switch is a little bit trickier. In order to get to the door switch, we have to pop down this front bearing here, which is not the easiest job, and reach back and get the switch itself. So to start, we'll pop forward that front bearing. Now, you have these kind of plastic pieces here that are pushing up through the metal. This metal is very stiff. It is not easy to move. You can't just flex it out and pull it out. Not that easy. What you can do though is use a tack puller, and what we'll do is we'll put pressure on the front of the bearing to give us just a little bit of room so that we can move the tack puller in between the metal and that plastic that is holding it in, and then we'll start to pry up. Make sure you move that plastic down and then pull the front of the bearing forward. This is going to push it between here and basically unlock it. Now we'll have to do the same on the other side. Since it's already pulled forward on one side, it should be easier on the other. Just get your blade under there, start to maneuver it forward, pull. We lost it there. Let's get it back in there. So we'll push that down there. If you give it a wiggle, it causes the plastic to move forward. So move it forward, start to pull, pop it through. So at this point here, take a picture of your wiring. Make sure that your wiring is correct. If you want to do testing again to make sure that you tested it okay, just take off your wiring here and you'll have a normally open and a normally closed portion of your micro switch. You'll see an NC as well as an NO. So if you have an NO and you're going between common and NO, what will happen is whenever the door is open, it will not have continuity, but when the door is closed, it will have continuity. That's what you want to test to make sure the door switch is not causing the unit to not start. We'll pull these wires off of here. Have to use something to pry them up a little bit. Make sure you hold on to your bearing. I'll just try to place it down in that plastic again where it holds it. Get this last one off. we'll go ahead, we'll just let the bearing drop for now. Next, we will open up our door. With the door open, we're going to have to press on the sides of the switch. This is where it locks it in place. So you're going to have to squeeze and start to push it in there. Give it a good squeeze. Push it in evenly. Start to bring it out, bring the terminals out, and then set your switch to the side. When installing your new door switch, we'll just open the door here a little bit. We will install the terminal side first, as that's going to go toward me. Start to bring it in, and then pop it into place. I'll go ahead and close the door again. And this is a neat little trick. If you have to move your unit and maybe press up against the wall, just put a little bit of a mover's blanket edge in the corner and on the top of the door, and it'll just keep it from smashing up against the wall or anything and cause any scratches. Now, next we'll go ahead and reinstall our wiring. What I am going to do is refer back to the picture to see exactly where it goes. So what we have is we have the green on the top, the longer white on the end, and the shorter white in the middle. Next, let's go ahead and start to bring your bearing kit back in. It goes into slotted areas on the corners. You'll see here, this will kind of go in, and then this portion of it meets the outside rim metal going around. So push this portion in. We'll have to get that out of the way. Push this portion in, make sure this portion's in, start to drop it in place, and then, just maneuver it a little bit. You're gonna have to wiggle it around in order to get it in here right, because it does not want to rest right, because when you're pushing it in, the bottom's pushing on these tabs. So one thing that you have to do is you have to get that back portion in order for it to be able to lift up again. And see this one, I got that portion in. As soon as I did, it enabled it to lift up and slide in place. So let's do the same on this side. Just kind of put pressure at the top here. We got it in there. Just kind of make sure we're popped in place. This tab's in, this tab's in. Looks good. Now we can reinstall the front panel. When installing your front panel, first, I'm going to put a couple of threads in on the ones on the bottom. It is actually easier to take it off with them removed, but it is easier to reinstall it with them on there. So we'll get them kind of in there just a little bit. Next, we will bring in our front panel and we will line it up on those screws. It has two kind of claws that it will slide into. This will just kind of help hold it in place a little bit. Now we will reach down, reconnect our water line, so bring it in, start to pinch in and push in on your water line, reattach it. We'll bring it in, lift up on the drum to move it in. Reinstall your two screws on the top. We will reattach our two Molexes while we are up here. Reinstall the two screws inside. I'll grab my box, lift up on the dryer, slide this under, tighten the two screws underneath. Close it. Remove that. Now we can reinstall the console bracket. When reinstalling your bracket, you'll have the open side facing to the front. So let's go ahead and line it up here. I'm just gonna get 2 screws and put them in on the top. I know that these were not holding anything. This is just to kind of hold the bracket in place. Next, we will do these pieces here. These were to cause the plate to be pushed back. So we'll install this one, followed by the other side. The 2 mounting anchors. Those go underneath the piece that we just reinstalled. We will do the center bottom. Center bottom. Followed by the console screw anchor. Let's go ahead and slide our wiring through. Push it through this way. We will push in our strain reliever on the top. Push in our strain reliever on the side. Now we can reinstall the top panel. When reinstalling your top, we'll start to the back. Now on here, there are a couple of slots that will correspond with this spot on the back here. So when we are putting it in, put it in here first, slide it in and drop it down. Make sure it cannot be lifted on the back. Reinstall the screws, and remember that the anchor screws go to the sides. Black screw in the middle. Now we can reinstall the console. When reinstalling your console, first we'll go ahead and put our tech manual down. It does go over to this side. What we'll do is reattach all of our wiring to start. Once all of our wiring is reattached, we will stick our tech manual back in, pop down the paper. This is just to prevent it from touching metal at the top. Now, when you are reinstalling this, one thing that you're going to have to do is you're going to have to push on it while sliding down, because on the sides it slides in right here, but there's kind of a push tab on each side that you will have to push in and slide down. So let's get this back up here. Make sure our wiring is in. We will push it back, start to slide down. There we go. Check the seams on the sides to make sure it's all the way in. Reinstall your center screw. Go very slow while doing this. Reinstall your knob. Now inside the knob, it's a circle and it has one kind of pin that's pushing up. That will correspond to the flat spot inside of here. So look inside, find out where the flat spot is, put the pin there and push in, and this will complete your repair. Thank you for watching another quality video from ApplianceVideo.com. If you found this video helpful, make sure you click the like and subscribe to our channel.